Morning Show with EVH. I'm Eric Von Hessler. Oh, look who's here. Our pregnant friend, Autumn Fisher. Hello. And we got Michael Albanese. Everybody have their sound on?
What's
good?
happening?
There's so many things to worry about before we start. There's always one thing that doesn't get hit.
No,
my headphones for me was where that was. Also over there, Greg Russ is flying the ship, and hopefully his camera angle doesn't show the top of the black curtains, which made it seem like we were about to make a porn film in here on Friday's show.
Not?
That was for Saturday.
Yeah,
we did that on Saturday.
We did it on Saturday, but it's not part of the Eric Von Radio family of shows. The porn is another thing. It's my next movie.
No, it's part of Eric Allure.
Eric Allure, which will be rolling out in a couple of months.
All
.edu.
All POV. We just bought a ring light to put around the camera lens on Amazon.
More like PERV.
He's on this week,
Monday.
ladies and gentlemen.
Am I right? Monday.
What's that spell?
So Autumn came in. Autumn's pregnancy. How long have you been pregnant now? Where are you in your?
28 weeks.
And that's around 7 months.
Yeah, I'm in the 7-month.
And she's we're lucky that we're on in the morning, apparently.
Yeah.
Because this is when her mood is at her best.
It's
apparently, by noon and after, it just disintegrates. And she came in telling me that she had really put her husband, a new husband, this guy barely knows her. You know, they've known each other for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And
How long did you guys know each other before you got dated before you got married?
A year and 2 years, maybe?
That's pretty aggressive, isn't
Yeah.
it? You're young, though, right?
I'm 31.
Yeah, you're not young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's time
It's
to
over.
get that shit locked up.
yeah.
It's over.
A little bit.
So she's putting this poor guy through the ringer.
Yeah.
And,
Crap.
you know, he's a good guy, but he strikes me as somebody who is a listener, and now he's regretting that. All of his life, being a listener has been good for him. And now, suddenly, I think he's opened a door that he wishes that he could close. And are you unreasonable with him? Do you just blame him for the problems in the world? What happens?
No, I'm not unreasonable. But it's a really hard balance because I know that my reaction is maybe over dramatic or
because your pregnancy
not
chemicals
valid.
are just
Yeah.
bouncing around like
and
crazy.
I know that, but I still feel it and I still react to it. And so it's
You know it, but you can't control it.
exactly. And so I'll be saying like, I know it's because it's because it's 10:30 and it's late and I know that you did it and it's not a problem, but I'm still upset because. And then I hate myself.
At
and I
least
hate
you
myself.
set it up. At least you
Yeah.
set it up. Like you say, like, look, this is not me talking, but just let me say it.
Yeah. But
I'm channeling now, bitch Autumn.
There's a
It's
monster
not
inside
really me.
well, he's lucky. That, I'm not like. Are we allowed to curse or not? What is this?
Well, Michael has really just sort of knocked
Oh,
down
I'm sorry.
that wall.
You were dropping the F-bomb all last week. Excuse me.
We're allowed to curse. I would like us not
Okay.
to overly do it or underdo it. Just
well,
be
I'm
natural.
not. Neither of us fight this way where we're like, fuck you, you
Right.
little asshole. You know, we're not like that. So
Right.
it's all like, the way that you did that made me feel good.
Oh, that's so modern.
It's great, though. I mean, it is great. Because then
Do you let him
never,
speak?
Yeah.
What did you sit?
Hold
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Of course.
Autumn, do not let Eric criticize you on this.
Yeah.
Because his approach, I remember coming over to this house one day, the whole door frame was shattered. He slammed
Yes.
the door so hard, a door
Yeah.
frame broke into pieces, and he's like, oh, your approach of dealing with your issues with one another is very straightforward and rational.
Right.
It's the worst, modern, as if
Yeah.
that's a terrible
Stomp
thing.
upstairs and slam the door. That's the
Right.
way it's supposed to be done, right? This is what I learned from my parents, and this is what I've brought to my
Exactly.
nuclear family.
I have a pretty good way when I argue with someone that I'm dating. I just stop talking to them forever. I couldn't tell you the last time I argued with somebody, and
Yeah.
then the next day we were still dating. And it's not like arguments like I don't argue. It's like if I don't know what I hate it. I truly hate it because I've lost some pretty decent people in my life because of it. But I as soon as any trouble happens, it's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You're doing this and that, and why am I not invited? I'm just like, well,
Okay.
this is it for us. I guess this goodbye forever. Good night.
If she approached you in a different way, do you think you'd be more
I
receptive
don't know.
to arguing?
I think I'm getting to the point where I need to like have something steady as far. I've had the last couple. I didn't want to talk about this.
No,
but who
let's get
cares?
into it.
I've
No.
had the last 2 or 3 nights. I've had dreams about a particular ex of mine.
Mm-hmm. Is this
And,
the one
like,
you
I
almost
haven't-
married? Is this the
yeah.
one you abandoned at the altar?
Exactly.
Yeah.
we got to hear that story sometime. I don't
Well,
know
we
the
can
story.
get into it. We'll be a little
No,
bit right
I
here.
mean she's a good person. She's married now. I hear.
But,
But I don't know. I haven't thought about her in probably over a year. Mm-hmm. Like it hasn't even crossed my mind. And the last 3 nights in a row, I've had like weird dreams about.
See, that's more
that.
about you. I know enough about dreams. It's
Yeah.
more about you than her. It's not about you necessarily longing for her or thinking you did it.
No,
it's
no,
you.
no.
It's you thinking, I need to fill that hole in my life.
No, because that's what I've been thinking about lately. Is like I was just saying the past relationships that I've had that I'm like, God damn it,
Yeah.
I really screwed that one
A
up.
little too headstrong.
And I didn't screw it up like cheat or anything. Like I don't. It's not my game, but.
You just weren't tolerant of them being
Exactly.
different.
Well, I put myself I'm very selfish when it comes to relationships.
Yeah, so am I.
And it doesn't help. It doesn't bode well for me. I was dating a girl for about like 6 or 7 months recently, like last year, and I screwed that up because I was too selfish.
What happened there?
It was me. I screwed it up.
Yeah.
I was too distant, and I didn't give any leash, for anything. Like the moment
you took.
anything like bad even closely happened, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
you're looking for it. You're
Fuck
looking.
it.
Yeah, you're looking for the exit.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you know where it
I'm
is.
1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
And I say that. I've said that to girls that I've dated. I say, just so you know, with me, I'm always 1 foot out the door. Because
Oh, that must comfort them.
Yeah.
I would
no,
think in the
because
first
it
week.
comforts me.
Yeah.
Because
You know you're not lying.
Because then when I bail, I'm like, told you.
Hey,
I fucking told you.
They were forewarned.
I'm gonna stop cursing.
No,
Yeah,
he opened
it's.
the gate.
They bought the ticket. They knew what they were in for.
But the reason I do it is because I've had past relationships over the last couple of years where it's been, you can't, as a comic, especially when you go on the road, and it's every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, typically.
Yeah,
it's,
you're gone.
You're gone, and those are the nights that girls want to hang out. And I've dated girls, and over again, it's like, oh, this is so cool. They dig the idea of like, oh, you're an artist or whatever, which
Yeah. They
that's,
think they
that's
dig it.
debatable.
Yeah.
People can debate.
You make
whether
your
comedians
living.
are- I make my living at certain times,
Yeah.
and I go on the road, and it's been doesn't work for in the past people that I've dated,
Mm-hmm.
and so then I've built up this wall of it's not going to work for anybody, so I'm just going to let you know up front that you're not going to enjoy.
And you don't
this.
want to take her on the road with you. One thing I remember from
I
being a
have.
comedian,
I
know,
like
but
that.
when I was a comedian and you get stuck in these comedy condos, we always hated when the one comedian brought his girlfriend or wife because
Yeah.
it wasn't just all guys going nuts in a comedy condo for a weekend. So
Right? No, but and I have brought people, a girl or on the road, and it's fine.
yeah,
But at the
so
same
they see
time,
you bomb, and they don't want to come back to the condo with you.
well, you just got to not bomb. Hello.
Hey, there you go. I'm speaking from my experience.
Yeah, but yeah, but I think that's what it is. Lately I've been thinking. I stay awake in bed, going, God, maybe I should, have a girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah, it
more.
seems,
I've never lived with. I'm 30. I've never lived with a girl. Like I've never lived with a girlfriend. I've had a
seems
girl
like
roommate.
You
but
need
I've
to
never-
do the opposite of what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna go on the road a lot and be busy a lot and be a little bit more selfish in that way,
Right. Well, that's
then
how
you
I
have to
have
like.
been.
Then you have to give even more when you're home.
Yeah, you got to come back with the
But
big.
that's I don't
But
know
that's
if
hard.
I have that capability at the moment. To
What
do that.
these dreams are telling you is you want to acquire that capability.
Maybe,
you don't quite
yeah.
know how to, and you don't really feel like you really want to, but something is coming in and saying, you know what, if you don't kind of change this in the next couple of years, you may end up being a sad, very lonely old man.
Not to quote a John Mayer song, but I will.
No, please don't.
No, it's actually an interesting quote. It's like you shut up, take your headphones off. I'm
yeah.
sorry, it's not
Hey,
white
'Cause
denim.
Your voice,
Friggin'
your voice is
hipster
only
prick.
traveling through the headphones. I take them off. I can still hear the quote.
Your headphones
No,
off.
it's
He's
a
a
great
foot
quote.
away from
And
you.
I don't care. I used to be a closeted pop music fan, but not anymore. And then
Fine.
Hey,
sync
let
changed
it out.
my life.
Hey, look,
Be good
John
to your
Mayer
daughter.
is
It's-
a very talented dude.
The thought of being married and in a relationship is not. I don't like that. It's the thought of that I'm in, that I have a
Right.
thing for it. So it's not the
The
being
real
in love.
thing is
It's
fun.
the thought of being in love that I
Well, how can you know if you've never jumped over?
No, I have.
You've never been
there.
in love.
I absolutely have. I almost got married to somebody that I was
Okay,
in love
but
with. Yeah.
but that was different because you just sort of threw your life up in the air and said, I'm
Yeah.
going to be a comedian. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to settle down. Now, it wasn't
Well, no,
just
that was
her.
after that. That was
Oh.
after that.
Oh, you think
when
it
that
was.
fell apart, that's when I decided to take the leap.
I think the issue is that you're trying to fit your life to fit the lyrics to John Mayer songs.
I still haven't.
You know how many people write about love? John Mayer's the one you go
I
with.
still
Find someone
haven't
else.
quoted it yet.
I know.
Find
So,
someone else.
Not yet.
Greg says, find someone else.
Maybe I should. Maybe I'm in love with John Mayer. Maybe that's what
Who
it is.
it? The guy's been
Who
he's got
isn't?
trim from the entire. There isn't a state in this country that John Mayer doesn't have a mistress in. I don't think. So what's the quote that sums up your life from
Well,
John
no,
Mayer?
he says.
Could you sing it?
No.
Come on.
Can you do a guitar solo?
He said, I don't even know. If
Oh,
I
it's
know
out
the
of his
quote
head.
properly. It's you love me. You love the thought of me.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
Wow, profound. Thanks, John Mayer, for that poetry, that deep philosophy on life.
Well, Greg's the same way as you
Or
are.
to quote even a better man, I was walking down one way.
Let's not get into quoting Huey Lewis. What were we doing before we went on? Do you still have that up? It sounds like you did the F word there, but you didn't.
I
You said,
didn't.
Pumpkin. Do you still have that site up before we went on? I don't know why it was fascinating me.
Yeah.
Because she
Oh,
found
no,
some
they
site.
didn't.
How did we even start talking about how big
I was
celebrities...
wishing that George Clooney had a micro penis. I was just hoping. 'Cause
Right.
He's got everything else going
And,
for him.
again, I'll say that I don't think that's possible because...
Hold on, real quick. You just gave me shit for liking John Mayer, and you can't get the thought out of your mind of hoping George Clooney has a small penis, and you're gonna give me shit
Yeah.
for
I think
liking
that's,
John
I think
Mayer.
that's completely rational to just hope that a beautiful man who can have whatever he wants, and the whole
Everything-
world swoons over him as a.
Everything you just gave to
Micro.
me about liking John Mayer is completely irrelevant now. Because
Yeah, I
you,
mean,
because
he's
you
ga-
think
he-
about
no,
George Clooney's
this
penis.
no. Here's what would happen if George Clooney wrote a book of so-called poetry and I was quoting it. Then it'd be similar.
Well, first of all, you'd be quoting the signed copy you have. Let's be honest. That's what
That's
you would be doing.
And you will have asked him your question because you want him to have a very small phallus for some reason. Because it's like the Tom Brady
It would
thing.
humanize him, right?
It's like the Tom Brady thing. Good looking, supermodel wife, 3 Super Bowl rings, and you think to yourself, all right, there's got to be something that everything can't
The
be
butt
one
chin.
girl.
He's
Yeah.
got the butt chin at least. Tom
Yeah.
Brady. So that's I would not want to be Tom Brady because that butt chin. No.
You don't like her? She's beautiful.
No,
Who?
butt chin.
Butt
Oh,
chin.
Well, his wife's name is Bunchin, so I thought you were
Oh,
saying
wow.
Bunchin.
Wow.
Sorry
Maybe
about
we
that.
just stumbled upon something.
He has a butt chin. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying. Well,
She's probably a bitch.
There it is.
well, I
I
don't
can't
know.
imagine that she's just like an easygoing gal.
Wasn't there some story about her freaking out after a game when she was storming through
Oh,
the
the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Oh, when he lost
Last
to the
time,
Giants?
The second time they
second
lost to
time?
the Giants. Yeah.
Well, she was upset. She was emotional. You know, that happens. That's fine. So we were talking about the sizes of celebrities, and then it
Yeah,
came
so
up
I
that,
googled George Clooney.
and then we were talking about
small
James
dick.
Woods, and it came up that I think he has a large
Yeah.
appendage. And who
Nope,
was
he's
it that
on
they?
there.
Who, there was some surprising people on this list that I don't even know. This is on the internet. It could be all be made up for him. What is it? CelebrityDicks.com? Where do you go for this?
Oh no,
Act
they
like you
did.
don't
No,
know
it's
it.
called Oh no, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
Live Journal.
So
It's a
these
live
are,
journal.
Yeah, who has the biggest cock in Hollywood?
At
So this
GeoCities. Something that nobody cares about.
GeoCities.
Email to me at celebritycocks@aol.com.
So these are supposedly
inactive.
taken from people who have blogged after or
People
something
are-
they've written after they've had sex with famous people.
Someone is the person who wrote it at the end says, "Feel free to post photo evidence."
Do we have any photo evidence?
I don't see any,
Oh, too bad.
but lots of quotes. Like Sean Hannity,
What?
big thick one.
Wow.
Nice.
I don't know why that surprises me, but it does.
Josh Groban.
No wonder
Because
he's so
when you saw it
confident.
last, it was pretty
Josh.
flaccid.
Sean
shriveled.
Hannity is the most selfish person in bed. I guarantee it. He doesn't care.
He just lays
pounds
there.
away.
I think when
and
he's done-
then he rolls over.
No, he just
and
lays
says,
there,
"You're a
right?
good
Just-
American.
Do you think-
Get out of my bed."
That's his. We've had a great sexual session. You're a good American, honey.
Do you think his hair moves at all? Not even really. He just gets like one little Superman curl comes down off that shelf.
So what? So is it? So his is huge.
Yep, Josh Groban is cut about 4 inches soft, big bull balls.
So not only, well, you don't really have to say big. You just say bull balls. But
That's
I
what
would
it said.
think.
That's what it
but-
said.
no,
Big
I'm not
in
making fun of
caps.
you. It's
Yeah, bull balls. Can you be more descriptive?
big.
Wait, can you be more descriptive? Big.
Big.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, George Stephanopoulos, tiny, hairy, uncut, seen frequently at the gym in D.C.
Now he could be a grower, not a shower.
That's a real thing, by the way. I hate like
The growing and not showing.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm in that.
Oh.
I'm in that camp. I'm in that camp.
I'm with you.
Kevin Costner, big, fills his shorts good.
Now that's somebody looking at him. That doesn't mean that they actually know.
My favorite part
I
about
just
this
think
if
we
you
should take this really seriously with that sentence.
if you're not watching Autumn as she just giggled at the size of someone's dick,
Yeah.
grabbed her pregnant belly
Oh, yeah.
to like protect her child, like oh.
When I laugh, it hurts sometimes.
Keep that belly away from Sean Hannity.
Vanilla Ice,
What?
10 inches pulled out to prove it.
See? That's why he did well in rap.
Ugh, pulled out. What does that mean? Oh,
No, he
well,
pulled
out.
He
Yeah, I
pulled
know.
it.
What does that mean? Let's
Pulled
talk
out.
about it. Someone Google
No,
it.
not that kind of pulled out.
That's what I was
Meaning-
wondering. Maybe it
Meaning
was
he
pulled out.
unzipped
Yanked
his
it out.
pants and showed people.
Here's George Clooney, Tiny Whitey's average size cut.
Are you
Average
happy?
size. That's
Average
fine.
happy?
size.
Is
No,
Dale
he's
Earnhardt
still
Jr. on
beautiful. He's a beautiful man.
there?
Son
For
of a
Dale
bitch.
Earnhardt Jr.
Nope,
I don't know
nothing.
why. Just always wondered.
Yeah. Anybody else you guys want to know about? James Franco?
Nah, that's no.
Who has the biggest?
I'd rather just know him how I remember his penis.
That's right.
Tay Diggs, another huge one.
Nah, that doesn't surprise me.
Michael Bolton running down his long, thin leg with an equally long, thin, highly visible penis.
Jesus.
I don't care how nice his is. At some point, you're thinking to yourself, "I'm banging Michael Bolton." Jesus. And
You
it's
mean the guy
2014. I'm not banging Michael Bolton in 1989.
You guys talking about the guy from the Honda commercial?
Yes, the guy from the Honda
That's
commercials.
how I know him.
So Jared Leto, you said, was the biggest? Or
It's what it says. But everybody, I mean,
And these are supposedly testimonials from
Jimmy
people
Smits.
who actually know. Is he
Jimmy
still a star?
Smits, is that your neighbor?
Is he still a celebrity?
I
Was-
know.
Was
I
he on
forget who
LA
that
Law or
is.
something?
That's someone who really just want to
Yeah.
get in on the game.
Yeah.
Like,
put
oh,
his
I
own
don't
name.
have anyone other than Jimmy Smits, but I'll throw it out there.
Does Jimmy Smits count? I think she had to get it through the.
Right.
It was
the
moderated. The
editors.
administrator had to approve it.
They took a hand vote, 3 to 2.
Yeah,
All right,
let-
Don
Jimmy Smits
Johnson.
counts.
Let Smits in.
What does this mean? Letterman, big basket.
Oh, you know what that means.
That would be his nads, I believe.
Big
right?
basket.
Yeah. That would be
I
his-
feel like it's not a basket. It's like a bag
you
or
never
a
heard of
sack
well,
or something.
bag, a sack, a basket. Some
Never.
people call that a basket full of eggs.
This is an incredible list.
Yeah.
I'm so
Patrick
happy
Stewart.
about it, yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick
She's-
Stewart's large?
It says
I'm feeling
she's big.
What?
She's big. I guess someone's referring to his penis as she.
Maybe he
like a
does
boat.
That. Maybe he does that.
She's big. Oh, she's big.
If we, no, that's it wasn't Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean
it was,
Connery.
It
It
was,
was-
not, it was Sean. It was
Patrick Stewart. Make it so.
thank
That's
you, Sean
neither
Connery.
Patrick Stewart or Sean Connery.
That's Sean Stewart.
Well
I'm trying to
done.
do
Sean
something in
Stewart, I
between.
believe. All right.
Yeah, it's a
I've had
good
enough
site.
talking about male appendages.
No, you haven't.
Should we put
Well,
our you-
around other people.
I'm gonna find one of your names on here tomorrow.
Please
I
do. You
know
can
it.
just look on the internet and find mine somewhere, I'm sure.
I mean, you guys have ruined everything. I can't even masturbate in this room anymore. It's a live studio all the time. Where am I supposed to go?
Aw.
This used to be my office.
This used to
Not
be the-
saying that I would or
This
ever
used to be
did,
the-
but I can't. That's
Yeah,
the point.
The jerk
Sounds like
den. This was it.
The jerk den.
JD.
Your computer was
Now
not
it's-
set up in the proper spot. It was in the back corner of the room
where I could be caught.
where
I did that
you
on
were
purpose.
facing away from the door.
That's
I'm-
called spunk shui.
I was doing that. No, it's spunk shui is
Can
when.
can we hold on? Give it a second to let that
That's
marinate.
not
She said
my kiss.
spunk shui. That's,
not her-
that's really funny.
But spunk shui
Spunk
is
shui.
different. That's when you actually set it up so that you can't be caught. So you'd
So you
walk
need
in
to
the
face
room
the
and
door.
you need to face the door. I used
Exactly.
to be over there where if you walked in, you would have caught me if I was doing anything. I did that on purpose, by the way. I police myself. So I put the computer in a place in a room in the basement where I would have to think, twice
Someone's
before
coming.
doing something like that because someone would walk right in. So.
It was that big of a problem. We had to set it up.
Well, I'm
So
trying to police myself as I get older. You don't want to be a kid doing that all the time. It really needs to be a release when it's just been a few days or something. Stop doing it like a child. Not a child, but a teenager.
Whoa.
You know what I'm talking about.
No,
Do
no
we?
one knows what you're talking about.
Do we?
I'm talking
It's
about.
too easy now. It's
You
too
know
easy.
what I'm talking about because if there's anybody that I know as a woman who's like a guy when it comes
I
to
know.
that, it's you. You're the only woman I know who's ever been busted doing that sort of thing by others.
No. I've
Well, you
never
told
been
me one
busted.
time you thought because she had a bedroom where she had one of those bathrooms where the door to her bedroom could
Oh.
open, and then on the other side
That
it was
was
the
at the
hallway,
apartment.
and you had a roommate.
Yeah.
And I came over one day, and she says, "I think they might have known what I was doing because
Yeah.
both of those doors were open."
I think this is
Yeah.
the perfect time to plug Patreon. What do you think?
I think so.
Love it.
If you want more talk about celebrity dicks, who else is doing this? Everyone? Well, not as good as we are.
And Eric's masturbating habits.
Yes. Now,
Please
no
don't.
one else is talking about that I know of.
Hey, by the way, the Sunday paper, that was the only time you could find material when you were a kid. The bra ads would come out in like the J.C. Penney flyer.
Is that
Yeah,
that was your beginning?
That was my go-to.
When I was a
at
kid,
one point.
the Sears catalog was still a thing, and it would come to your house a couple times a year, and it was huge. And so there were just pages and pages of lingerie models, and that was kind of the thing,
Yeah.
kind of the same deal there. But so you'd have newsprint all
It's too
newsprint
easy
all
now.
over your
It's
hands
too
when you were
easy. You don't
done.
have to work
Oh,
for it.
no.
I know. Yeah, now it is too easy, and that's why I police myself, because you don't otherwise you'd be in there looking at that stuff 24 hours a day, or I would. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. I want to see every last girl on the internet. I want to get to the end, and there'll be a thing coming. You've reached the end of the internet. You have now seen. I must have looked at in my time thousands. I don't know. I wish I could quantify the number, and yet there's still more. They're making more and more and more people to go online nude every single day, and I've never run into one of them on the streets, which I find amazing.
Well, they're done up on the internet, though. You know, they've got lots of hair and makeup going on.
You think they let their hair down when they're?
Yeah, they look
when they're
like
walking
those
around?
strippers that you used to meet.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's plenty of pictures of ex-girlfriends sending the photos to their boyfriends at the time. Then they break up. And it's like, I'll post these on the internet now.
Yeah.
There's probably one of you, Autumn.
That's against the law
There's
now.
only
isn't it?
one of me ever.
Oh,
Me-
is there one?
It's
of
on
you?
the internet.
It's not on the internet.
It's
Well,
not on the
gotta
internet.
be because we know who has it.
All
Yeah.
right, be careful there. I don't want to.
Well, it's, I mean, yeah. It's not a
He
big deal.
still has a picture of you nude.
Well, I assume I don't. I mean, I'm sure he didn't delete it.
You don't delete those.
Yeah.
Even though you say you do.
I
you
wasn't
don't. I can
nude.
pull
You
up.
don't
I can
send
pull up
them.
100 of them right now.
You know what? If that picture got out, I wouldn't be like super embarrassed because it wasn't. There were boobs in it, but it wasn't sexual.
What, are you saying it was artistic?
No, it was
I love
silly.
You. I
I
love
know.
you. I'm sure that this ex of yours is still bringing it up and thinking of it in artistic terms.
No, it
I'm
wasn't
sure there's
artistic. I'm
nothing-
not saying it
there's
was
nothing
artistic.
sexual at all about it.
No, it was like goofy. It wasn't like I was trying to be
Goofy boobs.
sexy. It was like
How old were you?
21.
Okay, it was sexy no matter what you intended.
Yeah.
Can I tell you that?
But I would be happy with the picture out because it's not like I was trying to be sexual. If it was sexual,
you
like
wouldn't
if I was,
mind that your parents would
if
know
I was like,
there's a place for you.
gross, then I would be embarrassed by it because like
What face are you doing in it?
I'm just smiling like an idiot. I had like a DVD between my boobs, like
Oh my god.
Should a newspaper
What
see what
DVD?
day it was?
I don't know. It was probably like airplane.
Ransom pictures.
What were you thinking then? Maybe I'll do this. I'll do pictures from my apartment, and guys will give me money.
Yeah.
What would bring you to do such a thing?
Oh no,
You're
I
just having
wouldn't do
fun.
that. No,
well,
it's just like
I think
it
you
was-
got to tell people now, your age and younger, and everyone, just never do it.
Well, yeah,
Because it's going to end up on
It's
the
different
internet.
now.
Back in the old days,
Yeah.
it was Polaroids, and maybe unfortunately it might get mixed in with the family stuff, and you get embarrassed.
No, you
But
still see
now,
those. People scan those old Polaroids in
That's
with
a
the
problem.
date on the bottom, 1994.
Yeah, that's a problem. Or even back to the 70s. You think about a lot of people who did porn, say like between 1965 and 1975, and not as the porn world was not what it is now. You really didn't. You had a couple of celebrities, but most of it was just people, and people did it for money, and girls did it for money, and they must have thought like 1975, I'm done with porn. Who's ever going to come? Those magazines, maybe somebody will have them. I can grow up, have kids, have a family. No one will ever know. And then, boom, here comes the 90s and the internet. And suddenly, all that work you did in 1968 and 1969 is right there and available for all your family to see.
I think the people that make out the best in porn is the guy, because you never really see their face, and
Right.
nobody's really looking at the face either. Of a guy.
Yeah, but they don't get paid much. When I lived out in L.A.,
You get to have sex. That's
you can have sex
pretty
without
good pay. It's like
filming.
$500 an episode.
It's $500, yeah. $500.
Pretty good.
Well,
you know how
it
much
doesn't-
work I have to do in comedy for $500? I'd much rather be having sex. For
How much
$500.
meth? The thing is, they have a lot of things you have to spend that $500 on.
Like what?
So they have drug habits that are up here, and so the
That's-
$500
that's
just makes you
free.
even, basically.
Drugs are free in porn.
In porn,
Yeah.
Candy is free too. I think everything is free in porn.
That's how
Shangri-La.
What's the fighter that MMA? He was a street fighter, the big black guy. I can't remember his name. My brain's dead.
Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice used to be a security guard on porn sites.
Oh.
And he would be they called him the chicken head wrangler because he would just be like keeping the girls from like killing each other.
Right.
And then he became a fighter.
Yeah, and then he lost, and
Yeah.
now he's just an analyst or something like that. I saw some UFC over the weekend. I was watching the race from Daytona, the sprint thing, and they kept promoting the UFC, and then it was on Fox Sports, and the UFC matches were coming after it, and my son, who's 16, is like, I hate racing, but I'll stick around for this UFC. I want to see that.
Absolutely.
I find it to be repulsive.
Yeah.
I've met
Really?
I do too.
No, let me
gross.
don't cut me off at the knees
No,
here.
I'm
I'm not
just-
being. I don't think that should be legislated out of anything.
No,
but for
no,
me personally, and I've met a lot of UFC fighters and mixed martial arts fighters. They're all a man and a woman. They've all been friendly, more intelligent than you expect them. Great guests, great interviews. They're really fantastic in that way. But I can't watch that sport. When a guy throws an elbow into another guy's face, that's just a street fight to me. And I always liked boxing. And I never gravitated towards street fight growing up. When two guys were going at it and people are gathering around, never liked that. It's just too brutal. And to me, when you throw an elbow in a guy's face, that fight should be stopped right there. Just on humanitarian purposes, that fight should be stopped right there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
You love it.
It's hard for me to hear you say you like boxing, but you don't like you.
I grew up in a
It's like
different
imagine
age.
boxing but better.
It's not better.
I can't watch boxing because UFC is so good. UFC is such a great. It's because it's consensual street fighting.
No,
Street
no,
fighting.
I
Street
understand
fighting
that,
is
right.
mostly a guy getting jumped and then getting pummeled. But this is an art form. They're trained professional fighters,
Absolutely.
and that I don't think there's any better competition sport on the planet.
I think that it's
mixed martial
arts. Look, that's not. It's huge, and it's got nothing to do with whether I like it or not. It's just for me when I'm at a sports bar and I'm eating my Caesar salad. I don't want to look up.
Hold on, sports bar
Yeah.
and Caesar salad.
Yeah, a little chicken on it. You can't always go for the burger. I'm eating my Caesar salad, and it's a sports bar, so they have the UFC on 9 screens, and you look up and a guy's bleeding profusely from his face. It kind of ruins my appetite.
A couple things I don't necessarily comprehend on that. One, if there's a UFC fight going on at a bar, you're not getting in to just have a salad because it's going to be packed.
Okay.
So you have to go. You can't just stumble upon a UFC fight at a bar because
Well, sometimes though
every
ESPN
bar-
will be showing the highlights or something,
Right,
and then you
okay.
just see blood going down somebody's face. I find it to be disgusting. I always feel bad for the guy who's losing. See, that's my
No,
problem.
absolutely not.
That's why I watched Reservoir Dogs once. I'm the guy in the chair. I'm the guy getting his hair cut. When I watch stuff like that, I'm not like the badass in my mind. I'm not the badass gangster living this life. Whoever's getting hurt in a movie, that's, to me, I'm identifying with that person.
Yeah.
And so whoever's on the ground getting elbowed in the face 3 times, that's me as far as I'm concerned. And I just can't watch it.
Right.
The NFL is spending millions of dollars in PR and in real safety concern stuff to try to keep concussions out of the NFL. And you turn on this other sport where guys are elbowing each other in the face. It's amazing to me.
the lifespan of a UFC fighter versus a football player, there's been studies and statistics.
Well,
on
has UFC
that.
been around long enough to really...
Yeah, UFC's been around for 30 years. It's
right.
just only became popular and more regulated. It started. Its origin started off in a more brawl, no rules, kick them anywhere
Tough
you want.
man
type of thing.
contest, right.
And it was very barbaric. But now it's more regular. And the amount of damage you go through in one UFC fight, one MMA fight, versus being an NFL player,
Right.
It's insane. Like the amount of damage you put your body through to play in the NFL is far beyond what a fighter.
Well, yeah, because you're
ever-
doing it constantly. And you're
and
doing
listen,
it right.
how about boxing? In boxing, if you get knocked the fuck out, like,
Yeah.
and I say that only to emphasize the purpose. They sit there and go, "Come on, get up." Yeah, come on, give me a second, give me a second. Get back up,
give him some time.
UFC, you
He's
get
worked
knocked
hard for
out,
this.
show's over.
Right.
You get knocked out, you're done. Game over. You get one hit to the head. But boxing, it's nonstop pummeling.
I think it's
NFL,
what-
nonstop
right.
pummeling.
And I don't disagree
Gay
with...
porn,
I don't...
nonstop pummeling.
I think you're probably right
Probably
about
one
all
of
of
the
it. I think the
safest,
reason I
most
react to it
regulated
that way,
sports.
I don't think it's not regulated. It's got a huge fan base. I'm not against them or anything. Just for me, it's just not my cup of tea. And I think,
no, yeah,
I think
that's-
the reason is because I hated street fights so much growing up. It was always it just would screw up every good afternoon. But then I was alone in that one at the time because everybody else, man, they'd come piling out of their apartments. I always lived in apartments. Come piling out of the apartment into there's a big fight around the pool or whatever, And it was the most entertaining thing that most of my friends could be around. But same thing there. Whoever was losing that street fight was me in my mind. Like, oh my god,
Eric
that guy's
used to
getting
live
killed.
inside of a World Star hip hop video.
I did. People were throwing tires at me. It was terrible. All right, so let's take a moment and thank our Patreon contributors. This is amazing. We are already up to, this is the beginning of our second week. We already have commitments from people, $1,000 a month to help us with our budget. And we want to thank you people very much as we possibly can. Say thank you. A lot of people at the $10 level. That's what I'm really pushing, that $10 a month. I think if you care about radio, if you want it to get better, if you don't like what you're hearing on the airwaves, if you have $10 a month to help us try to do something about it, we'd appreciate it. Can you please turn this music off? I mean, I just can't talk over somebody singing.
Sarah
It's
McLachlan.
amazing.
I understand who it is.
You're the sad
I don't
dogs.
think you knew who it was.
I know who it is. You can have
You
sad
thought it was
music.
Natalie Imbruglia.
You could have sad music.
Can you
but
pull up
can't-
some Huey Lewis now? Let's do Huey Lewis.
Hip to be square.
I really do want to just let people know. It kind of blows me away that I think it's 47 people are
Let's
now
go to the
constituting-
screenshot.
Let's
I'll
go
tell
to
you.
the screenshot. 1,000.
Do we get to be part of that?
You can be a part of it as
we get
much
to go
as
to
you
like
like.
a dinner somewhere.
Yeah.
That'd be so maybe a
Yeah.
UFC fight.
I think you
What do
should be
think?
a part of it. Yeah, we'll get together at a Hooters or something before a UFC fight, and then we'll stick around later for the shareholders meeting. The point here is that in my mind, this show belongs to you, and I would like you, if you can, to be a part of the show. And if you don't like what you're hearing out there, then we're here for you. Become an investor. Go into business with me. I'd like to go into business with you. Go to patreon.com, type in Eric Von Radio, 3 words, not like you do it on the Twitter, and you'll find our page. You'll find the levels. You'll see what we're doing there. And once again, really, from the heart, thank you to everyone who has committed so far, and we look forward to others joining this big team, because I'd like to get that up to about $900,000 a month. We got a long way to go, but the longest journey begins with the first step. And we appreciate you guys being there for us. Patreon.com, Eric Von Radio. Check it out. Autumn,
Yeah.
what is in the news? Low sounder.
So pro.
So it's President's Day.
I really forgot about that.
Nobody cares.
The date means nothing.
Yep.
Oh, that James Garfield. He
Some
was
people,
so great.
Some people have off today, right?
Yeah, some schools have off. I think it's a bank holiday.
I can't believe schools might have more days off.
Yeah, I know. My son doesn't, but I
Okay.
think that the Atlanta public schools are
Crazy.
off. President's Day is around now because there used to be 2 holidays. There was Washington's birthday and Lincoln's
yeah.
birthday. Those were 2 holidays, and when the MLK Day thing came in, they said we can't take more days off. So they took Washington and Lincoln, shoved them together, called it President's Day, and so we got one more holiday, but we didn't lose any more days of productivity. But the problem now is, on Washington's birthday, you knew what you were celebrating. Lincoln's birthday, you knew what they were celebrating. Most people dig both of those presidents. They're considered both heavyweights. But now it's President's Day, so you're really taking time to honor Jimmy Carter and
Right.
Andrew Johnson,
William H. Taft.
William H. Taft.
And
Is that his real full name?
That
I
is,
just made
yes.
that up. Really?
You know where did he come from? Where did the Tafts come from, Michael?
What was a candy factory?
Yes,
It's Taft.
in Ohio. I
Twix.
believe that he's
the Twix.
I think he was the governor of Ohio. I'm not sure. I think the Taft.
No, that
of
was
Ohio.
Jerry Springer you're thinking of.
Yes, Jerry Springer, who ran for office or was mayor of Cincinnati, I think, for a brief period of time.
Double
Got in trouble. The
references.
scandal that brought him down was not only that he met with a prostitute, but he wrote her a check, and that was easily traceable. So learn from Jerry Springer. Don't write personal checks to your favorite prostitutes.
Well, Groupon is celebrating President's Day by honoring the notorious President Alexander Hamilton and offering $10 off all local deals above $40. This is their quote on their website. The $10 bill, as everyone knows, features President Alexander Hamilton, undeniably one of our greatest presidents and most widely recognized for establishing the country's financial system.
Uh-oh.
Whoops-a-daisy.
The
So
only
people,
problem is he was never president.
Nope, never president. People tweeted Groupon asking if it was a joke, and they responded, "Joke? We'd never joke about saving $10."
All right, so they got to know, right?
This is how stupid that. Here's 2 problems. That 1, they're idiots.
Yeah.
And 2, I guarantee that those savings are going to be pushed to the retailer. They're not eating their $10 cut. That's going to come out of the retailer side. I can almost guarantee that when you get it, if you have a $40 Groupon, because the way it works, if I give $20 off, $40. So we split $10.
Yeah.
That $20 between you and Groupon, I guarantee that 10 is coming out of the pockets of the retailer.
Well, I do
We're
expect,
driving business
right.
to you, buddy.
I do hope that is a joke in some
Yeah,
way, and
yeah.
didn't slide past everybody at Groupon that just because he's on the bill. Who's next? Benjamin Franklin? You get
Greatest
$100
president of all
off.
time.
That's right.
The greatest of all time. Groupon's having trouble. I don't know if they fixed this, but they're having trouble. They were wildly popular with retailers at first because you get a lot of traffic if you got a sandwich shop and you got a Groupon thing out there. But business people like it less and less because it turns out if you are a Groupon shopper, there's no loyalty. You don't go back to the place without a coupon. You just wait for the next day, and wherever Groupon gives you something, you go that place
absolutely.
next. So it doesn't really do the retailer a whole hell of a lot of good.
And on a very small scale, the Improv in Buckhead,
Yes.
On their Yelp, great
Yeah.
reviews.
Mm-hmm.
The only negative reviews, they're like complaining about every nitpicky detail. In the very end, he goes, "But I got a Groupon for it, so I guess it's not all that bad. But I'm still giving you 1 star. Like I didn't pay for.
I didn't
got
pay
a
for
free
anything.
appetizer.
Oh, right.
I
have no
free
sense of
tickets.
humor.
I got free valet parking. But I had to wait 10 minutes to get a drink. What kind of crap is this? You kill yourself. If you use Groupon and that's all, and you're just a Grouponer, die.
Yeah.
Like seriously, go watch Honey Boo Boo and then drown yourself in Diet Coke, you moron. I'm sorry, I'm angry.
Groupon's got to be weird for comedy clubs, I think, because you could just not like the comic. I mean, as far as reviews go,
Yeah.
like the club could be fine, but you just that particular comic on that night,
Yeah.
you might not
Oh,
like.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
that's a problem. I would think with Yelp, actually, is where comedy clubs probably have that problem.
Yeah.
The club could be doing everything right, and the guy shows up and he just doesn't dig the comedian and go
Yeah.
on Yelp and
So that's
slam
all,
the
all
joint.
the negative reviews on our this comedy club is all from people that got in for free or
Right,
got discounted
right.
tickets.
Right.
And Yelp's a great place.
They're- yeah.
Like, Yelp's
Are they
it's a
good
great
customers?
honest place, but
Right.
it's like you got free tickets, you didn't pay for anything, and you're complaining. Like,
Right.
how about like, oh, I guess I didn't enjoy it. I'm gonna go to Yelp with it.
We talked about this on one of the test shows, but not with people listening. For Yelp, one of the most entertaining things is to go and look at the comments that are in there for Underground
Yeah.
Underground Atlanta.
Those are pretty good.
pull this one up there. There's one that's just classic. I think you know the one I'm talking about. We'll pull it up if we can and get to it. But you don't worry about it because you're doing the news. We'll,
All
we'll
right.
come back around.
Yeah, there was a 3.2 magnitude earthquake in Georgia and South Carolina this week.
Hey, you know what this makes me? I'm not a seismologist,
Ooh.
and I'm not a geologist.
Well, let me send you
I'm
that
not
link
a-
to that website about the celebrity sizes.
Oh, okay. A seismologist. Big Tom Sizemore fan. That's our fan club, the
Great.
seismologist. But if you think about it, didn't that Corvette thing happen in Kentucky, right?
Oh,
Where all
yeah.
those Corvettes, there was a sinkhole and all those
Yeah.
millions and millions of dollars worth of Corvettes at that museum went in. That's in Kentucky.
That's
you got an
right.
earthquake here through South Carolina and what, northern Georgia?
Yeah, it looks like from
So something's going on.
yeah, parts of South Carolina and Georgia. Yeah,
Something's going on down there.
it's the end of days.
It is.
Fracking.
It's
It-
the
They're
fracking.
not
It
even
all
doing
goes-
any fracking.
It all goes back to fracking.
It's that fracking in Pennsylvania. It's so bad that it's affecting the water table in Kentucky, and it's causing earthquakes in South
A
Carolina.
lot of people felt it. I saw it on Facebook before I saw it on the news that it was
Oh,
felt by a
3.2
ton
is
of people.
was
But-
it 3.2? That's sizable.
Some of our friends felt it in East Atlanta, and we didn't feel it in Midtown.
Well, because it's like a hair fracture. You know, wherever it goes, it
Yeah, I
goes,
guess
but it
so.
doesn't necessarily. It's only got so much around it.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I've never felt an earthquake before.
I was in an earthquake in Memphis, Tennessee, when I was I don't know, 11 years old, and it lasted a good long time, and it was pretty powerful, and it was a weird feeling, and some of the strangest part about the feeling, you know you're going to shake around, but the knocking around, at least in my situation, wasn't what you thought it would feel like. It felt more like you were stepping like jelly. Like things were like this, and it was a strange feeling. And that's all we talked about at school the next day,
Sure, I
5th
bet.
grade. Everybody had their stories.
Well, it's weird to think that something so solid, that you feel is so solid, the earth,
Yeah.
the ground, could be like wavy, like what you're describing.
That's what it was, wavy.
Yeah,
It was a weird kind of thing, and you find yourself down in that.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
lived out in L.A. for a few years, but all I ever got was the little tremors. When you're in L.A., when you watch the news, there's the weather map. Like everybody's used to the weather map, 70 here and 90 inland and all that kind of stuff. But they have the earthquake map. They have earthquakes every day.
Wow.
You just can't really feel them, or you feel just a little. And every once in a while, once or twice a week, you'd feel something that's kind of like a large truck passing by your window.
Right.
And then it was over. There's constant tremors going on. And that's why I got the hell out of there, because I knew something bad was coming.
Yeah.
You go under bridges. This is being repaired from this earthquake, and the next bridge is being repaired from the last earthquake. I lived in Glendale because it's built in granite. And I figured that's a good place to be,
That was your thought process.
Yeah.
In funding.
Yeah, I want to be
makes
somewhere
sense.
in the mountains that's good, hard, solid rock. Because everything's built in layers out there. So I don't want to be at the bottom of that pile. I want to take the ride down. Somehow I feel like you have more of a shot of living if you're at the top.
Yeah.
When things collapse, I don't think you really do. But
Yeah, the World Trade Center showed you that. Was
exactly.
right
Well, that
move.
one guy at the very top lived, right? Remember that
Did
stupid
he?
bogus story?
He rode
this-
Yeah,
something
like he
down.
surfed down on a.
This stupid bogus story that the government wasn't behind it. Is that the story we're talking about?
Michael, don't derail us now. With
Okay,
your,
so Yelp review from December 5th, 2013. OMG, if being beaten and robbed and smoking crack is your thing, then Underground's for you.
that's the underground Atlanta Yelp.
Don't go here. That's the common thread, is that most
Isn't there
of them
one
say,
about
don't
being
go
hit with
here.
a bag of pennies or something? That's
Yeah,
my favorite one. Is a kind of this paragraph where a guy described his visit to underground Atlanta as being something like being smacked in the face with a sock full of quarters, or something along those lines. That's a bad review.
It's real bad.
I've
They're
gone
all
there.
bad.
I think it's a wonderful place.
You do? You love it?
I've never been
That's where you
there.
get your
I've
socks?
lived in Atlanta since June of 1998. I've never been to underground Atlanta. Never been to Stone Mountain.
Coca-Cola
Oh.
couldn't contain the crazy down there because they were
Right.
the part of that. The museum used to be down
Yeah,
there.
they were trying to. So that should mainstream it a little bit.
Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
the largest company in the world, could not figure out how to make that area safe.
Yeah. Well,
So-
the thing about underground Atlanta, the reason I've never gone to underground Atlanta, that area where the above ground Atlanta, where that is not is what I would describe as sketchy at noon.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
someplace I want to be at
No.
10 o'clock at night or something like that.
Here's my personal favorite. I'm a large guy, and I've been to war. This place gave me the heebie-jeebies. It was a bright, sunny afternoon, but I won't venture there again. In general, it's probably by thugs, miscreants, and indigent folks. Sad to say, and this day and age is probably racist, but don't go here if you are a person of pallor. Pallor? I can't read.
Does he mean white?
A plus, a Waffle House. It's the only
Is there a
not
Waffle House down
freestanding
there?
Waffle House, and I took a picture of it.
If there's one there that's just fantastic.
I was hoping he was going to go, I'm not a racist, but black people scare me. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what a racist is.
Pallor, does he mean you
Pallor?
have no
I
color in
guess.
your skin?
Yeah, pallor is if you
pale?
ain't got no pigments.
If you're a pale
Weird.
person.
I don't know.
I think it's a dangerous place to go no matter what your skin looks like, to be honest with you. But then again, like I say, up above underground, it's so at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a guy, he's selling socks on the side of the.
Well, that's just Georgia State. I mean,
Well,
20,
he's
20
selling-
pair for
selling
a dollar.
socks. Who's
20
selling
pair for a dollar.
Who's selling socks on the street corner?
people that need.
Who's
yes.
buying those socks?
It's a deal.
I'm sure the delivery truck comes every morning with all the new socks.
Fresh.
Those aren't
Hot and
stolen. Those aren't stolen from somewhere.
Hot socks? You mean
Get
like
hot
they're for
socks.
winter? No,
It
they're
shouldn't
not.
scare me, a man with a sock stand. That shouldn't scare me, but it says to me that there's something about this neighborhood that just ain't right.
It's incredible, man, because it's actually like I've driven around there a few times because there's a shoe store that sells my size that I go to.
Yes.
It's right around the corner from there, and there's so many cool like architectural aspects to it, and it's actually like a really cool area. But why 20 years ago? Like, what happened? Like, did they just stop caring or patrolling it? Because you can go in there, you can regulate that, but do they not care?
I think now you can't. You used to be able to bust people just for walking around or loitering
It's
or
called
whatever.
Vagrancy.
Yeah, I know, but they don't do it as much anymore
You can
because
bust a kid
people
for
are
riding a skateboard, but you can't bust a guy for smoking crack.
Well, the kid riding a skateboard might have a parent who will tell him not to do it again. The people smoking crack, what are you going to do with them? Put them in jail for 2 days and they're right back on the streets? You can't really do anything with them. It's the homelessness really that
Just
has
patrol
ruined that
the
neighborhood.
area. Just have a couple beat patrol.
However, I've walked through that park 1,000 times.
Which one is it? Woodruff?
I guess it's Woodruff.
Woodruff
Yeah,
Park,
Woodruff.
yes.
Where lots of the homeless guys hang out, and
Yeah.
I've never had any problems. Zero problems.
Well, I don't think
and
it's
then
Why
at
are they
night,
allowed
they
to
kind
hang
of kick
out
them
there?
out.
That's what I
I
don't
think it's just
understand.
people
Well, every
that
park
freak
there,
out.
people are allowed to hang out, like play checkers and preach about.
I think it's just
the
people
gods.
that just suburban people coming into the city, and then like they think that this is the place to go, but it ain't like the Longhorns in the mall.
Right.
This mall's different than mine. I don't like it.
But I mean, underground Atlanta used to be something that
We used to go there all
Atlanta
the time as a
bragged
kid,
about. Like, come to
absolutely.
Atlanta, and now they've just
Well, look,
decided,
Here's a story. Someone used Yelp as a therapy session. First, a story. In the 60s, my father, a blue-collar worker when he wasn't drunk, worked at an ice cream
this guy's
manufacturing plant. So basically, the dad worked in a manufacturing plant, ice cream manufacturing plant, underground Atlanta in the 60s, and this review says it was deserted then.
Right.
And this kid would run around pretending it was the Bat Cave. And but the story ends up going, here's the end. Today, it is an embarrassment, as
Yeah.
if it wasn't in the 60s. This was
Right.
just set up as...
But I think it did have if I'm right here, the heyday was like late 80s, early 90s. Probably the lead up to the Olympics.
Yeah,
they
that's true.
they came in and they turned it into something that
They
people
put a Johnny Rockets in there.
But see,
And
the
it really
I wonder if it's
drew the crowds.
That's right.
I wonder if it's being subsidized by Atlanta, right?
I
It's
would
gotta be.
If it is, I don't know. I don't understand
Well,
why.
they have niche
Why are there
stores.
places in town that are
Grills.
dangerous? Why?
Why what?
Why are there allowed to be places in town that everyone knows don't go there? It's dangerous. Why is that allowed?
You got,
Why is that allowed?
Because it's going to exist, and you have to maintain it. So it's like, all right, everyone
Right.
go. It's the Skid Row theory. Like,
Yeah.
go there. Like if they're all here, we know where they're at.
Keep an eye on them.
Keep an eye on them here. If
Makes sense.
yeah. I don't know. I feel
As
like
long as you're
I
not in
feel
that
like
big old Sun Trust building,
Just
because
the-
then who wants to go for a meeting there?
the
I mean,
look
you
of
get nothing but homeless.
underground, the look, the feel, like it's a cool place. They got like these old vintage cars that are hanging out there. Like
Yeah.
it should be cool. I think you put like 2 or 3 really cool bars.
Yeah.
And some.
But you gotta
and
get
some
rid of the
foot
homeless, though,
patrol.
Mike. You gotta-
We
you
just
gotta-
got to put some foot patrol. Look, the homeless people are there only because nobody else is.
Right.
Right.
If there were, I don't want to say they were normal because I think homeless people can be rehabilitated.
But I think living in a home is normal.
sure.
So we can call that normal.
Sure, but you get citizens down there, and you get people
Right.
that come and populate and hang out. The homeless people are going to disappear because they don't want to be around people just as much as we don't want
They
to be
wanna
around
beg
them.
for money, though, so
They're
you're
going to
gonna have
beg
to-
for money, then
Yeah.
they're going to get in trouble, and they're going to
Right.
be pushed somewhere else, but then that place is going to end up being shit.
I mean,
Honestly-
put them all in Turner Field. They're not using that for anything.
You know what?
Just open that up. It's
Like
a
a
place
bunch of
that
zombies.
It's like, this is your house. You can have the run of the place.
Sell
No,
tickets.
So the homeless has never been a problem, at least for me. Walking around, because I was at school at Georgia State, and
Right.
I would walk around there constantly, and
You were never bothered?
never,
Really?
never, ever, never.
It's just disconcerting. There's a guy sleeping. I'm
I
walking
know,
through
but
a
you just
park.
get used
There's a
to-
guy
and you are
sleeping. He's got
downtown.
stuff hanging on his
You're
mouth.
not.
It's
You're
just-
not. At a
No,
Toys R
downtown's-
Us.
See, that's the thing.
You're
That's
downtown.
now what everybody understands is it's downtown. There was a time in this country where downtown was where you wanted to be. That was the glistening jewel. That's where we put all.
Downtown.
Yeah, she didn't write that song because she loved homeless people.
There are some homeless guys, and they're peeing next to you.
Downtown. She wrote that because that's the place to be, downtown. Now everyone knows in almost every major city in this country, don't go downtown.
Walking
Well-
up to strangers was a big mistake when you go downtown.
The great Petula Clark.
I hate that. Song.
Listen to the music of the wind going through the crack pipe.
Yeah.
I'm not a good singer.
Hey, we should do a parody song.
We just did.
I know. That's it. That's as much as you're going to get. We're not going to actually play one. Give me one more story. We'll get out of here. It's been
Well, yeah, Mike, you wanted
time
to talk
is
about
flying by.
you wanted to talk about Flappy Birds, right?
Yeah.
And your son
Okay, let's do some
has
background.
an addiction.
Flappy Birds. This is something that I'm becoming aware of because my son and his best friend are Flappy Bird crazy right now. Flappy Bird is a little mobile game where you're trying to just keep the bird always in the air going through these little things, and
In
you can't
openings
touch
and tubes.
little openings and tubes, and you can't touch anything, and and so you're looking at your phone and you're tapping the whole time. Now I'll tell you is that my son has not looked me in the eye in 2 weeks. He's tolerated my conversations as he looks up briefly as he's trying to keep this thing flapping. Wait, but the one thing is, then I found out that this game really isn't even available anymore. This is
Right.
is it an older game that was retired?
The
and now it's-
developer pulled it off himself. He said it was addictive, so he took it down.
Well, it
but
is
now
a-
you have all these spin-offs.
Right.
You
Right.
have people
and so,
ripping off the Flappy and putting...
Oh, I see. So they're taking like part of what he wrote.
Here's
putting
the
in
problem.
There's
stuff.
more. It's a Flappy Pig, Flappy Flying, Flappy Fish,
Right.
Flappy
there's
Wings.
1,000 knockoffs.
Yeah, there's 1,000
and they're
knockoffs.
exactly the same. But some idiots are like, "Oh, I want the original," and they're spending crazy money to get it, and that just makes them stupid.
Well, that's true, but now, this kind of craze goes on with mobile gaming, and it usually lasts for 5 or 6 weeks, a couple months. You go back a year or two ago, everybody was playing Words with Friends, and I'm not saying that's not still somewhat popular, but there was a period of time where everyone I ran into was in the middle of some sort of Words with Friends game, and it seems to there was one
Draw Something.
the Draw Something.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing it for 6 weeks, and a lot of times these companies just hit big. Like the Draw Something people, I think they were sold for a few $1 million, $200 million or something to somebody. And then it's like, well, do you have another game? Because today the entire world woke up and decided they weren't into drawing something anymore. So now you've got nothing on your hands. This guy did it differently.
Yeah,
he
he
decided to pull it while he was making money. How much money
He
was
was
he making?
making $50,000 a week, but he wanted to pull it because people were getting
Shoot,
so
man.
addicted and frustrated. So I guess he felt bad.
I do see my son always.
I
he's
saw-
looking-
yeah, last
He's looking
week.
down. He's like, "Damn!
yeah, he's like, I hate this game.
Ah!"
See, I do the
but he
same thing,
can't
but I'm
stop.
looking down at myself going, damn it, why didn't you think of this first? What I'm excited about doing is I'm going to start poaching these iPhones that people are selling online after they realize that nobody gives a shit and
Yeah.
they're not going to pay all that money, and I'm going to poach all these iPhones for like $5 and just resell them as iPhones.
You think they're going to come? Oh,
They're right now, you can buy iPhones for like $30.
right.
No reserves, no buy now, because people are like,
And
oh,
they have-
I'm getting in on this, and then
Right.
and now,
Oh, wait, 'cause
they
you
have
can
to
get the-
sell their phones on. If they're selling their phones, they're selling their phones on eBay
Right.
because they think they're going to get thousands of dollars. But if
Why would they think that I'm missing
because
something
somebody
here?
bought some, well, they
Because
said
it's
it-
on.
game is
The game is on the phone.
Yeah.
game was on the phone,
Ah.
the original, and so then now they're saying that there's a potential that it was a joke that somebody paid $150,000 on eBay for one.
It has to be.
However, there are some of them are going for bids on $700 right now. It's crazy. But then there's also some that have zero and it's about to end, and it's like, all right, well, I'll just grab an iPhone for $10.
Right. So I mean, so this is a new game. I thought people were discovering it after it had been pulled down or something. So it's a new game. It catches on. This dude is he just naturally? Is he
Dong
just?
Nguyen.
He's got money. He doesn't need $50,000.
Well,
It's Vietnam, right?
Let's be-
He's
it was-
Vietnamese.
Yeah,
it was
he's Vietnamese.
addictive for a while, and then he banked a ton of money, and he's like, "No, I don't want you to play it."
Right. But why stop banking that? Why stop banking that money?
He
How
has
many-
a conscience.
He has
No,
a
he doesn't.
conscience.
I guess.
Nobody has a
but-
conscience.
you know what? Pull my movie out of the theaters. Too many people are going 3 times. It's
It said
taking up too
when-
much of their lives. This guy's an idiot.
Nguyen told Forbes that he was unhappy.
Is that his name, Winto Forbes?
Yeah.
Window Forbes.
I spent a lot of time last night looking up how to say his name correctly.
And then what it is?
Nguyen. Nguyen.
Oh yeah, is it the NG?
Yeah, it's that weird NG thing.
Yeah.
Nguyen told Forbes that he was unhappy that people found his game that he was unhappy that people found his game frustrating, which netted him $50 a week, and it was so
Games are
addictive,
supposed to be frustrating.
and that people couldn't stop playing it.
The reason they can't stop playing it is because it's frustrating. If they just got through the maze one time, it wouldn't be a challenge.
But I guess it was too frustrating. You remember that Frogs game, that Nintendo game, that surfing frogs game where they had to go through the lava?
Yeah.
Anybody else know
No,
what I'm talking
no.
about?
Battletoads.
Battletoads, thank you.
Yeah.
There was the one level where you had to surf through the cave and the fire and the lava was shooting at you. It was impossible.
But this guy's
And you wanted to die.
Look,
You
it's
did
not
it.
just about money all the time, Eric.
Yeah.
He sees that he's destroying humanity, so
Right.
maybe he wants
You
to
should be
stop.
happy for this guy. Isn't this your hero?
No, he's not my hero. He's doing good work. He's hit on something. Do you know how many programmer coders there are who do this kind of stuff that would give their left nut to have a hit like this and then
Yeah.
just to walk away from it?
Well.
He can do whatever he wants. But if it's too frustrating, why doesn't he just change it a little bit and make it easier? If that's supposedly his idea, that it's too frustrating and becomes too addictive, then have a level that's easier and then have the hard level,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
because
where it is.
recoding it's a lot of work. There's a reason your movie's not done yet.
$50,000.
There's a
week.
reason the Driving and Crying movie's not done
Let me
yet
tell you
because
something. Let me tell you something.
because you get lazy. You're like, oh god, I
made
gotta
50,000.
change
First
all
of all,
this
the
stuff.
Driving and Crime movie is done. It has to be changed because we have a new agreement. It's been shown in many theaters.
I
So
know.
don't give me-
I'm just
don't give me
lighting
that.
the fire.
No,
I just
but
want
let
to
me
get you going.
But let me tell you this: if that movie was bringing $50,000 a week into my bank account, it would be. I mean, I wouldn't have any problem.
What if your
dedicating
movie
my
was
time to-
destroying families? Sons were sitting there watching your movie. Damn, and not speaking to you, not even looking at you, not showering,
I
not
call
sleeping.
that a hit. And that is your problem as a parent.
If I was-
would take in all the money I could.
If I created something that netted me $50,000 a year, I would step over dead babies to do it. Get out of here, you!
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
making too much money. Here's the thing: this guy probably also uses Groupon. That fucking
Yeah.
prick.
Yes.
Probably.
See, now that was unnecessary.
No, it
So
wasn't.
That was
I'm
was
so mad. $50,000 a day. I'm done.
People have been commenting. Everybody likes the whole crew, but people do comment from time to time. I get questions like, "Is Michael that angry?" I mean, no, he's not an angry guy. He just
I'm quite the opposite
he's
of
not
angry.
angry at all. But he's just.
I
kinda
get
stuck.
I get heated over.
Yeah, you do
shit.
get heated over just specific things.
I'm very mild mannered until unless I'm in the car. I get like
Oh,
I
you're
get
one of those guys.
Really angry in traffic.
You yell at people. You throw.
I only yell at people that do dumb shit. Like if you stop at a yellow light, I'm gonna get out of my car. I'm gonna kick your mirrors off your car.
It
Turn.
seems like it's taking it a little too far.
Even
What-
the inside one.
What do you lose?
Yeah,
3
yeah,
minutes?
it's the rear view that I
Yeah.
kick off.
Yeah.
Just reach and rip it out. You see what you're doing to me?
You're mocking me. I don't want you looking at me behind you
Yeah, really.
anymore. What do you lose? 3 minutes? I mean, let's have some perspective.
It's not the fact that I'm losing the time. It's just what is your problem? How dumb? It's a yellow light. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
stop. There's a line of or if you're get your signal on and you're going slow in any lane,
Yeah.
like just get off the road, stop
Yeah.
driving, take the bus.
I like to drive like I'm going to win something at the end of it.
Absolutely.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's,
And I
you know,
drive-
you know
I
when you see
drive
the
very
pileups on the
safe.
side of the road? That's what they're doing.
I don't speed typically. I don't run lights, but just do the right.
Drive.
Just do the drive.
Drive.
The most thing I say in my car when I'm mad is just drive.
Yeah.
Just
hear that.
do
The,
something.
the
Stop.
Thing that people get confused about in front of me sometimes that really, really annoys me, and I just go, okay, whatever, turn up the music. I'll be out of this jam in 5 minutes. Is when a left turn lane has its own signal,
Right.
where at certain times it's only those lanes turning. And then people think that if the light's green but the signal isn't on, that they don't have the right to go forward and turn.
Right.
So you're sitting at
The
a
red
green
arrow?
light, and the person is not moving because they saw there was a green arrow before, and they've become convinced that they can't move now. Now, sometimes you're in dedicated lanes and
Right.
you can't move, but sometimes that goes both ways. You get the option to turn freely, or you have to go deal with the traffic. And the people who sit at a green light because the arrow's not on does bother me, but I've gotten to the point
Lemmings.
now. I take my happy pill, and I just sit back and I turn up my music. And I just say, I used to get very angry, but now I think, at the
You don't
most,
give him a
this
little
is-
toot,
No,
toot.
no, I'm not going to get shot because
Oh,
somebody's an
come
idiot.
on. I'm not talking about the fuck you honk. I'm saying,
I'll
just a
get.
little toot.
I'm very very reserved with the horn, and if it's like if it's the lights on and it's your turn to turn,
Yeah.
I'll beep beep, give it
Yeah,
a little
a
honk honk.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
I've
you're not
had
paying
it.
attention.
I've had it where I've gotten out of my car because I'll give it toot toot, and then the guy will look in his mirror and flick me off
Right.
No.
for telling him
See,
to
that's
do
how it
his
starts.
goddamn job.
See, that's how it
Yeah.
starts, and then
No,
you find
I don't
yourself
care.
in a fight,
Shoot
and then
me
2
then.
years
That's the only
later,
way you
when has
put
that
me
ever
down.
happened?
it happens all the time, man. I have a buddy of mine in L.A., biggest
LA.
road rage guy you ever. I mean, I'm riding with. One time we're going to a restaurant. His wife. I'm with my wife. We're couples. We're going to a restaurant somewhere on going into North Hollywood and those jammed up streets there down by Griffith Park. And he gets angry with the guy in front of him. Our wives are in the car with us, and next thing I know, he jumps out of the car, opens his trunk, pulls out a crowbar, and starts going after the other guy.
God.
And I'm thinking,
You
well,
got
here's
one swing on me, son. You better bring a gun to that fight because I'm ducking, and then you're gonna lose your sternum.
I mean, well, I'm sitting in the car with my wife and his wife, and I'm thinking, well, look, if the guns start coming out, I'm jumping in the front seat. And we're driving away.
There was a story not that long
Carry
ago.
a gun with you. Come on, what are you doing?
Two
Legal.
guys screaming at each other pull over, let's say a gas station. They both pull out guns, and then they shoot each other, and they both die.
Yeah.
So good riddance.
There you go.
Yeah, but then who moves
But
the cars?
what
And
great
then you got-
timing. What great the wife was in one of the cars. It's like, whoop, he's dead now.
This really happened, or is this one of your
that,
fantasies?
That really happened. That's not a fantasy.
This happened to me
It's
the
a
other
real
day
story.
coming here. I had a
Fantasy
little-
became reality.
Ah.
There was a guy I was coming here, and I had to pull. I had to run an errand on the way up, so I stopped early. And there's a guy, and it was up by Perimeter Mall, and there was a guy in a Range Rover that like scooted around me, that almost took out my mirror, only to get one car in front of me at the red light. And I start laying on the horn because I'm like, what is your problem? And of course,
Right.
you prick in a Range Rover, like, who do you think you are? And then I pull up to the side and I'm screaming at him. He's looking at me like, he's like, what? What are you talking about? And I'm screaming out the door. And if he would have just had one little piece of anger towards me, I would have got out of the car and kicked his window in.
You see, that's what I mean. Though, why do you need that? What I mean, just why?
Because he needs to have that.
If you beat him up or you do property damage, 2 years
I
later,
never have.
2 years and later, you're in jail. I mean,
I
or
never
you're
have.
in court
And
dealing with
I
this.
talk big like I actually would do that.
Right.
But it's more of like an anger, like I want to kick your window in. However, he needs to know for the rest of his day and hopefully a week, he needs to have that fear like that guy could potentially have killed me.
I just got I'm going to change my ways now.
Absolutely, yeah.
In case that mountain man
Otherwise,
hunts
in
me
life,
down again.
I'm fairly mild mannered.
Fairly. Outside of that, you're fairly mild mannered.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to
Pretty
get shot for
easygoing.
driving somewhere. I just people are crazy
I'm
and
gonna tell my story.
okay. Well, you tell your story. Well, hold on to your story.
All right.
Get in touch with Jay Busby because we're going to talk to him about the Olympics and stuff. You're not hearing your story about road rage.
That's all right.
You have a signature ending there?
That's the news.
No, your signature ending I'm throwing out if I have to prompt you any longer.
I didn't know.
You
So
hear the
yeah,
music,
but you said
hit the-
sometimes we might do more news, so I don't
It's
want to do the
okay.
end
You
of the
can
news.
open it back up. It's
All right,
okay.
that's our take on the
No,
news.
hold on.
Oh, here we go.
No, it's
No.
trying to get stuck.
All right, that's our take on the news. If you want these stories and some that we didn't get to, you can find us on ericvonradio.com. You can find our subreddit there or also on our Facebook page.
And while you look to get Mr. Busby, I will let people know one more time. Thank everyone at patreon.com. Go to patreon.com, Eric Von Radio. You can become a part of this enterprise. Go into business with me. We just did one, so I'm not going to do a long time. But just go to patreon.com. We're up to $1,000 a month committed to this show. You're helping us with our operating budget, and I just want to take the time to thank everyone who's jumped in so far and encourage others to join this business. Let's do something about the crappy radio you're hearing all the time. Patreon.com, Eric Von Radio. Have all those names gone by? All the names of the wonderful people who have sponsored. Look at that. I'm seeing Joey Mays, but look, I'm still seeing it. It's not even there anymore, probably, because I'm on
You're
a delay.
back on.
Okay, but so I saw Doug Wilson, Greg Wagoner. He's a good guy.
I love that guy.
He's Brantley Fry's a good guy.
The Fry guy? Mm-hmm. Oh, I love him.
Paige Acker Flynn, she helped out. $10 a month. That's all I ask. $10 a month. Do you feel like you get that much entertainment? If we can't supply $10 a month worth of entertainment to you, then we really shouldn't be on the air. Wait, we're not on the air. We're on the internet. But you know what I mean. Patreon.com, Eric Von Radio.
Way to keep morale high in this room.
I'm trying. I'm always full of sunshine. It was a big sporting weekend. You had the Olympics ongoing, obviously. The NBA All-Star Game was this weekend. And
What's the final score of that, by the way?
Well, we're about to have Jay Busby tell us that. And as a race fan, Daytona got kicked off on Saturday night with, I think they're calling it like the Sprint Cup Challenge now or something, but this is a non-points event that was a really cool race. Let's start with Jay Busby from Yahoo Sports, and let's talk about the Olympics and everything that I didn't see over the weekend. Jay, you there?
I'm here. How are you, my friends?
We're doing well, man. So where do you want to start? Because of this little enterprise here and everything that I'm doing, I have to say that the Olympics have sort of fallen away for me, and I haven't been following. But I do know that the Russians lost to the Americans in hockey, which I was very happy about.
Yes, that was the big story on Saturday. It was that we had early morning hockey for those of us here in the United States, and the U.S. won in a shootout, and it was controversial, and the Russians threw a fit, and Vladimir Putin was unhappy, and so yeah, all was right with the world.
Everything's great there. Now I have to say I like seeing Vladimir Putin unhappy, and he really didn't have a case as the rules go. What happened was before the Russians scored a goal. But our goalie's ice skate had kicked the goal itself out of place, out of position. And by rule, you're not allowed to score a goal in that situation. But the Russians, so the point is, as to the rule, the call was correct. But I have to say, I'm glad we beat them. But it really is kind of a technicality. Don't you agree, Jay?
I do. Yeah, it was. This was one of those skin of the teeth ones that you get the call turned over on review, and it was the kind of thing where the U.S. was lucky to escape the way that they did in a shootout. Mm-hmm. But it bodes well for the U.S. that they're able to keep playing at a high level. But yeah, it's going to be tough from here on out.
Yeah. So is it going to come down to the Americans and the Canadians? The Canadians still alive? I take it.
They are, but we're going to face them in the, assuming that everybody wins out, we're going to face them in the semifinals rather than before the medal round. So it's going to be, we catch Canada, and I should not say we, I should be an impartial journalist. The United States.
That's right.
Exactly. The United States faces Canada early before the medal round. So that rematch of 2010's gold medal will come sooner rather than later.
Okay, so so how does it work? So you're not knocked out by losing? Like, are the Russians still playing, or are they?
Right. Yeah, there were several different groups, and you have multiple different groups, and then you win. If you win or come in second in your group, then you get seeded into the medal tournament.
Okay.
So the teams that the U.S. stomped on early, they're out of it, but the other ones are still in.
So it's an accumulation of games, and
Exactly.
and then you get to go to the. So it's not even a possibility now. Is there a possibility we could face the Russians again, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
In the gold medal round, if I remember correctly, it could come back to it's going to set up like that. I mean, how perfect would that be?
Sure, that'll be fantastic. So and could the Canadians face the Russians?
They could if they beat the United States. So yes, it's all everything's still up in the air at the moment, but all the teams that most of the world or most of the hockey world wants to see are still alive.
And now ice dancing is big today. I understand the Americans have a good shot of going and getting a gold medal.
Yes, I have to brush up on my ice dancing acumen there.
Can I ask you something though? Is that different from couples skate or?
Yes, it's weird because they're restricted to only playing skating to 1940s Broadway show tunes.
Apparently.
So that's all they can do.
It's all My Fair Lady and Carousel.
Yeah, which people have been brought up. What are they going to skate to? 100 years from now, they're going to be skating to Lady Gaga tunes and Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. That's the Beethoven of the future, Miley Cyrus.
Exactly. I can't wait.
You were here on the ground floor. So anything else real quick on the Olympics? Because there's some other questions I have for you on different sports.
I guess the big thing right now is the Bodie Miller interview from last night. I don't know if you got a chance to see this, but Miller won the bronze medal in downhill, and he made it. He was in an interview. His brother passed away last April. Very, very tragic for him. The interviewer kept asking him about it, and finally he broke down, and people were enraged that the interviewer kept pressing him about his dead brother to basically get him to cry on camera.
Who was the interviewer?
Her name is Kristen Cooper, and I'm not familiar with her work, but apparently she's much more a winter sports. It's not a Jim Gray, Pete Rose kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Miller immediately came out in support of her. NBC stayed in support of her, so it may not blow up like that, but boy, was the internet ticked last night at her.
Well, I mean, the problem with these reporters is that I'm talking to a reporter as well, but the problem is that reporters quite often come into stories like this with their storyline. She sat down and decided that he needs to be emotional about this because of he's lost his brother, and they assume they're right, and she. My guess is, not seeing the interview, she had nothing else to go to. That's what she brought to the table. And that was going to be her narrative. That was going to be her storyline. And reporters do not know what to do when people don't play along with their preconceived narrative. I've dealt with this myself on a local level, where they walk into the radio station and they say, "Oh, go stand over there and look that way," because they already know what they're going to write. They already know what they're going to report. You're just some douche that's got to get there in the middle and be.
I don't understand why.
Meat.
As like the person being interviewed, why didn't he say, "What are you trying to do to me right now? Can we not? Are we done?
Yeah.
Are you done trying to be a viral superstar? Can you please move on? Like, why would you just? Why would
I think
you
he
do
was
that?
just crushed. I mean, I think that he wasn't even thinking that clearly. I think he was just absolutely overwhelmed by the moment, and so yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Eric. That's the kind of thing where one of my pet peeves, and this is getting way into the media inside baseball, is when reporters ask the question. It's not even a question. Talk about. They say talk about what it means.
Every one of this is, Jay. This gets me. I cannot stand after a victory. So you just won the Super Bowl. You gained 80 yards. It was a fantastic outing. What's it like? How's it feel right now?
Oh, it's a great feeling,
And
Coach.
if you know anything.
10%.
When something huge has just happened to you is about the worst time to try to tell somebody. It's like time to tell somebody what your dreams are about. It's impossible to be interesting. And it's always the same question. How does it feel? It's the laziest reportage around, and they must be taught this in school. They all do
well,
it.
you know what? I don't know if it's necessarily school. I think it's monkey see, monkey do, where
Right.
and it's what you talked about. You want a narrative. You want this heartbreaking narrative. This guy skied in memory of his dead brother. Perfect. That's what we'll roll with. And unfortunately, it's all too easy to slip into that trap of okay, well, this is the story that I'm going to write. I need him to say this. Boom, slot it in, hit send, and we're done. That's what happened.
And when you don't play along, they're like robots whose wiring just went bad. They just do not know what to do. Steam starts coming out of their eye sockets. I think we have some of this interview. I don't know if we're right at the part, but go ahead.
Listen down here. What's going through your mind?
I mean, a lot, obviously. Just a long struggle coming in here, and just a tough year. And
I know you wanted to be here with Chile, really experiencing these games. And how much does it mean to you to come up with a great performance for him? And was it for him?
Reasonable question.
I mean, I don't know if it's really for him, but I wanted to come here and I don't know, I guess make myself proud, but
when you're looking up in the sky at the start, we see you there, and it
Now she's
just
probing.
looks like you're talking to somebody. What's going on there?
He was shaky also. He was crying.
Sorry, babe.
So that's it. He's just broken
So
down.
she breaks
crying.
it. Yeah. So now she's a superstar, and we're playing her, and she's all over the.
She got what she wanted.
She's got what she
He
wanted.
was already losing it though,
Right.
right? He
Well,
was
did you hear
already
it-
cracking up.
Did you
I
hear
know, but
at the end there? I'm sorry, Autumn. Did you hear at the end there? She says sorry. She
I know, she called him
realized.
babe. She's like, sorry, babe.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I know, but she got what she wanted. I'm just saying, these guys are just meat. She knew what she wanted. Let me tell you something. If he wouldn't have gotten the bronze, she would have asked him the same question except about losing. You know, how does it?
Right.
You know, is it
Do you
still
think
worth
your
it?
brother's
Yeah.
depressed
Yeah,
wherever
Evan.
he is, in
Well,
whatever
now, hold
realm
on,
he's
'cause
in?
he was doing this in memory of the brother, right?
I got
so it's not like she's just making this up. Like, oh, you have a dead brother. Let me ask you about
No,
it.
but she sensed him breaking down. It was like blood in the water.
She
and
pushed
attacked.
for it to get what she wanted.
Maybe Bodie loved it. Maybe
I mean,
sometimes it feels good to cry.
Well, now he says, I guess he's backing her up. But Bodie Miller, as I recall, a couple Olympic Games ago was a big letdown. He was kind of the guy going into one of these Winter Games that he was supposed to come home with all these golds, and he did nothing. And he's still around. He's got all these medals. How many of them are gold? But I don't know why. Just from old stories, I feel like his career wasn't exactly what it was supposed to be.
Well, I'm not precisely up on his career down to the medal, but you are right. There are a few guys that get built up so high that we expect them to bring home a fistful of gold every time. And Miller was one of those. Michael Phelps, another one, but he did it. He actually
did
came
it,
through.
right.
Miller has not been able to come through to this point. So
He tends
I
to kind
think
of choke in the big events. I mean, look, he's great and he's more talented than I'll ever be. But I mean, just objectively over his career, he has a habit of having really good practices, and then when the time comes to do the run, coming up with bronze or silver rather than gold.
Yeah, and another guy like that is Jeremy Abbott, the figure skater this weekend, who's done so well in nationals, and he had a great he wrecked again, missed out on the medal and all that, and he had a great post skate interview where someone asked him that exact question, and he said, "Look, I just want to say," and he said, "I want to give an FU to anybody that thinks I'm not trying. It is
Right.
pressure and it breaks me down, but you're right, it does get to some guys more than others."
And he was skating for Bodie Miller's brother, which really makes it even worse. He had
Yeah,
more
which was
reasons
a
to
little
be-
strange. I thought that was curious,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think they knew it
whatever
too.
motivates you.
The entire Olympic team apparently likes this guy. Well, over the weekend, NBA All-Star Game. I was just asked what the final score was. I don't know what the final score was. Who won?
It was the East won. Our Atlanta Hawks, their representative, won. East won 163 to 155. So it was a tight defensive struggle.
63 to 155. If you like scoring, the All-Star Game is the place. Well, you get hurt defending, right? That's where you get hurt. Nobody's going to want to get hurt in an All-Star Game.
Yeah, they had a little coaches, one of those coaches segments where they put the microphone in, and the coach of Oklahoma City said, "Look, I don't want you guys to necessarily go up to the rim and get hurt doing that, but if you could maybe get back on defense once in a while, that'd be great."
It might
So-
help. It might help. What used to be the big deal on All-Star Weekend was the slam dunk contest, and I feel like it's really kind of lost its luster. And I know they changed the rules this time a little bit, and LeBron never gets involved, I think, which really annoys people.
Yeah, and there's no for him. There's no percentage in it. There's no reason for him to get involved because if it's lose or it's win or anything or nothing for him
Right.
because he's just so good and he's not going to get hurt, but he just doesn't want to get shamed, and so he just lets it go.
But he does little things like during practice, all of a sudden he starts putting on a show,
Right.
with his slam dunks to let people know that I could do this if I wanted to. But didn't Jordan used to get involved in slam dunks?
Jordan did back before it became huge. I think that
Right.
Jordan was the one that took it to Jordan and Dominique used to have these epic battles. And
Yeah.
In that famous photo that everyone's seen of Michael Jordan leaving from the foul line, I mean, that was against Dominique and back in 1988. And so he took it to that level so high that superstars don't want to do it now, that it's kind of left to the second tier guys.
Yeah, it's kind of a mark on LeBron, though. LeBron's great. He's, but I think that if you're that great and you're the marquee guy, you got to put yourself in those situations.
As soon as Blake Griffin jumped over a Kia in that horrible commercial, a couple
It was
years ago,
over.
I was like, you know what? The dunk contest doesn't mean anything anymore. I wonder if Kia, the main sponsor of the show's dunk contest version, is going to win. Really? Sorry, Kia, you lost. No, there was no contest. It was a commercial.
If you want to see one of the funniest, I don't know if it was North Korea or China, on YouTube there is an all-star dunking contest, I think in China, and it is one of the funniest things you'll ever see in your life. I mean, I won't even try to describe it. It's up there. It's either North Korea or China, dunking contest, all-star game. Check it out. I try not to do this too much on air because, as you know, Jay, I'm a big race car fan. And I'm a bigger fan than the people who listen to me usually, so I don't belabor them too much. But Daytona is the one time a year that I feel like I can talk about this, and things got started this weekend.
Yeah, it's the Daytona has what's called the speed weeks. I mean, they put the Super Bowl pregame nonsense to shame. They start about 10 days before the race and start rolling it out. But the big story, the one that the people you don't even know NASCAR are going to be at least mildly interested in, I think, is the return of the number 3 car to the track. And why that's significant is it hasn't been on the track in this level since Dale Earnhardt died back in 2001 driving that car. So now you've got the grandson of Earnhardt's former team owner, a guy named Austin Dillon, is running it, and he got the pole position, the leadoff position for the Daytona 500 next week. So that's going to be the story all week long.
Yeah, that right there was a blessing to is it Fox that's carrying it? Daytona?
Yes, exactly.
That's a blessing for them. That's a great storyline. Last year, the fact that Danica Patrick had won the pole was a good storyline for them for a week. I haven't really, when it comes to that kind of track and that kind of racing, it's really about the car. I'm not taking anything away from Austin Dillon, but when I saw that the number 3 was on the pole, then that was something that they were working on at Childress for a good long time. They wanted to make sure that in that race, and you can do that. You can build a car that's so good. Maybe I couldn't drive it to the pole, but Danica Patrick could, for instance, last year. And so it's really a lot about the equipment and the qualifying. So that's something that they went for, and they got it. I don't know how I feel about this Austin Dillon being the guy that – I've never been against the number 3 coming back because you only have so many numbers. It's not but I don't know if Austin Dillon, if this is the guy to get it done. He can race it to the pole, but I don't like his cowboy hat. His image annoys me.
The cowboy hat's got to go. I mean, I'm not sure that it's really a good fit. He's not a big strapping dude. He's a small guy, and and with the cowboy hat, it makes him look like that all hat and no cattle cliche. But
he looks like Kyle Busch in a cowboy hat. It's
yeah, exactly. So I'm going down to Daytona on Saturday, and I'm going. My plan is to go into the infield Saturday night and just find the craziest, drunkest rednecks and ask them straight up, what do you think of the 3 being back on the?
You will have to edit that, but I would love to hear that sound when you're done.
So there'll be just plenty for you to choose from?
You know what? It is fish in a barrel. It's no problem. I can't even begin to summarize some of the stories that I have seen in that infield because they would get all of us brought in by on charges by the FCC.
Yeah, not even we're not even ruled by the FCC, but they would change legislation to take us off the
find
internet
a way.
if they if they had. Well, very quickly on that, the racing looks like it's going to be spectacular if they can keep cars on the track. Half the field was wiped out. And there was only, I don't know how many cars started that race. It was maybe 20 or something like that. But the racing looked really, really good. They changed the rules. They can't bump draft. But they're looking like they're lining up really cool for what looks to me, if I judge by that race, it looks to me like the 500 would actually be a really cool race to watch.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, the problem with NASCAR is like if you're a baseball fan, imagine if every year they changed the distance of the pitcher's mound to the plate, or they said that you could or couldn't use certain kinds of bats, or they would change the dimensions of the field. Everything always seems to shift a little bit, and the drivers have to compensate. And this year they've made some changes to the cars that's going to make it a little bit trickier for them to understand how Daytona works. But based on what we saw on Saturday night, it's going to be a lot of fun. There are 3 or 4 races between now and the 500 itself, so we can see how the cars run a little bit more effectively.
And these drivers have a great learning curve. They wrecked out, but by the time they get to the 500, they'll have it down. The closing rate is a lot quicker than what they're expecting, and they're thinking that they've got room to come down the track, and there's a guy there, but they'll learn that. That'll be easy. Jay Busby, man, you've been helping us out an awful lot through the Olympics and all of this, and I sound like somebody doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation. Yeah, thank you for helping us with all of this, Jay Busby. Yahoo Sports, we appreciate you checking in with us.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Very good. I wanted to round that up. We're going to have to push Pete Holmes again because we don't have a whole lot of time. Autumn's interview with the great Pete Holmes sitting in the can.
You have until the 24th.
Can I guess what? Can I just do a quick guess of how that interview went? Ask the first question. Or ask a question you would ask Pete Holmes. I'm going to predict how this thing goes. I'll be Pete Holmes in this.
Oh, how do you stay so humble?
End of interview.
And we have that to look forward to tomorrow.
I love Pete
but
Holmes,
I want to make sure that we get to the story about the snake handler.
Yeah, this guy.
Because I literally, in a literal sense.
Are you sure it was
It's all right now.
I read.
It's okay
No,
now.
I literally did. A couple of weeks ago, read a story about this guy. He's got a reality show. The snake handling reality show.
When reality actually becomes reality.
Yeah, will this be in it?
Snake Salvation.
Snake Salvation. And this guy, read this article. This is in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
I found this guy fascinating. His last name is Coots. Is it Jamie Coots?
His name is the best.
So fitting.
I found
Jamie Coots.
He was pretty young, dude. I think he's in his 40s or something. And I found the article fascinating about how this guy's father handled snakes, and so he handles snakes. And in gleaning through that article, what I found out is that it's maybe one place in the Bible, and I don't know where it is, that they pull this one verse out that says that you should be handling snakes. And I think in the Bible it says you could do that and God would protect you. I don't think it says you have to do that, but he was fascinating. Then I woke up this morning and I saw that, what a surprise, he's dead. Snake bite.
Shocking.
Service.
Yeah, poor Jamie Coots. He was bitten by a snake.
Sounds like a blues song.
Poor
Jamie Coots.
Yeah, so someone at the church had contacted the Middlesboro PD saying that he had been bitten. But when the ambulance got there, Coots had gone home and refused medical treatment and emergency.
Well, it's because Jesus is going to cleanse his soul.
That's right.
I don't need hospitals. I got bit by a snake in a religious service. God will take care of this.
Do you think when he got bit, he went, Jesus fucking Christ?
Yeah.
No, on his way
That's what
out,
I'd
he
have
said,
said.
thank you, is what he said.
I'm coming home.
Here he is from his reality show, and this is while he was still alive.
right.
I don't need. Oops, no. Hold on 1 second. You pull that down.
You got to stop your
I've got
stream.
to stop my stream.
I wonder if anybody's still going to be following his sermon, or anyone's still going to go to that church. Like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be listening to this moron.
Right. Well, I think you said that his son is now going to take over for him.
His son Cody.
His son Cody is
Cody
next.
Coots.
Cody Coots.
He's next in line to die like an idiot.
All right, where are you, Eric?
These are the people, by the way, that are hanging on yellow lights. It's these guys. They're not paying attention.
You don't think they're not that intelligent?
Maybe
guys
we shouldn't be listening to this moron.
Take me a second.
Right. Well, that's us. We sound really good.
That was like the most
I just
delayed
thought I turned
echo
it
I've
off.
ever heard. That's pretty
I
impressive.
turned it off.
I love the fact, by the way, that this guy.
Here you go. Hold on
all
one
right,
second.
all right.
By
the way that
Okay, I have a new solution. Go ahead, Mike. What were you saying?
No, I was saying I love the fact that this guy's family is like, they're like, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep moving on with this. I know he died, and he's a pretty big dumbass, and we feel that he died in the spirit of the Lord. But we're gonna go ahead and put our son in that same line of fire because we don't.
Well, Cody wants it, but
we don't know no better.
Here's Jamie Coots when he was
We use them
alive.
in our religious ceremonies, and I believe as for me. If I don't have them there to use, I'm not obeying the Word of God.
So this guy actually read the Bible as saying that God, to him, you're not obeying him if you don't have snakes involved in your religious ceremony. And maybe somebody in the chat room knows.
I have the verses.
Okay, there's a couple of verses. It's not like it's not running through the Old or New Testament that you need to be doing this or God's going to be upset.
Jesus had a pet snake. It says a lot of things before this, but this says, they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. That's from Mark. And then Luke, behold, I give unto you the power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. So that's why he went home.
I'm pretty sure that it was they were speaking in metaphors.
Or
like the snake is just the
devil.
The image of evil.
Right.
Like,
Or how about this?
I got to use snakes, man. It says it right here. Thou shalt not lay with another man means kill all the gays. Like that's how they interpret it. And I think we can clearly understand that they were right. Let's get them.
I think that basically what you could look at that passage, I could look at that passage as being something along the lines of, well, because I've given you a brain and abstract thought, you have the sense not to handle a snake. Therefore, I've given you the ability to not be harmed by snakes. I've given you reason, and a reasonable person, unlike a cat who doesn't have abstract thought, would just walk up to a snake because they're curious. You're a human being, and I've given you the wherewithal necessary to not die from snake bites.
Here's the thing. Let's pretend for a moment. Let's suspend reality and pretend that the Bible's real.
Well, it is real. I have one,
and it was actually and how it was intended. It was actually written. It is actually the Word of God, not interpreted by man.
Right.
It is the actual carved
Came
in
down
stone
like laser.
by God. Do you think that if he was reading the passage that he wrote about snakes and then seeing this happen, he's not like, oh, come on, you're not that dumb, are you? Like, there's no way that he would just be
syllogism, anybody? Does anybody know what it means?
Yeah. Can somebody please go down there and tell this guy, oh, you know what? I'll just send a snake to kill him. Maybe that'll stop him.
No, I think these parishioners believe that when this Jamie Coots got to heaven, God was standing there patting him on the head going, good work. Good work. You stuck to the plan. You did it right.
I know I told you that you'd be saved from this, but joke's on you.
Here's his son, Cody.
I don't think it's dangerous. It's the Word of God. And we've always said it's a good way to live by, and it's a good way to die by.
Can we talk about how he said that? Well, I believe it's the Word of God.
The Coots are heavy breathers. You know
that?
Here's Cody Coots.
I don't think it's dangerous. It's the Word of God.
There it
and
is.
We've always said it's a good way to live by, and it's a good way to die by.
It's a good way to die by.
Why do they have to
First of
sound
all, it's a good
so
way to die.
Southern?
Not good way
I know,
to die
but
by.
you're missing the act. You're missing what he's saying.
I can't help. I know what he's saying.
He's saying it's a good way to die by.
Yes.
I mean, really, at 47 or whatever this
He
Jamie
wants to
Coots
be,
was?
Yeah, apparently like the Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul made this fire, and then a viper came out of it and wrapped around his hand.
Yeah, that happened.
And then everybody was real excited about it.
How
and
many
said
witnesses were there?
There was this person called Melita.
Oh, she was there.
That was there.
You know, she grew
Wait,
up
that's
to
an island. I don't know where they are. Nobody saw
It was
it.
the island of Melita, where they make coffee
La
filters.
Isla Melita.
Here's the chief of police.
I don't personally believe the way he does. I'm also a church-going man, but you just kind of have to have a little bit of respect for somebody that has that much faith that actually backs up what he says.
No, you don't have respect. You call them stupid
I'm sorry.
people told him if you do that, you're probably going to die.
Did he just wake up? Did he know that he was going to be interviewed?
There is, yeah.
This is after a lot of handling. Okay,
there is something. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't personally believe the way he does. I'm also a church-going man. But
It sounds like he's rolling his eyes.
have a little bit of respect for somebody that has that much faith. That
He
actually
makes-
backs
Well,
up
that's the
what
guy I
he
want to
says.
call an emergency, huh?
He makes a
All
good
right.
point.
he's like, yeah, he's a huge fat sheriff.
There is something impressive and to be said for people that have that much belief in anything.
Sure.
That they're willing to die for their cause. Because I don't know a single person that's willing to die for anything that they believe in.
No, I remember.
And that's, I mean, as much as I think that these people
Steve
are crazy
Jobs.
and they're out of their minds, he died for Apple.
No, he died. He died thinking that the fruits
He didn't
and
take
vegetables
regular
was
medicine.
was gonna cure his cancer. And that was his religion.
No, well, he died, but that was even more stupid. Like, this guy knew there was a danger.
But listen, not only did this guy die believing that God told him that he was impervious to snake bites, but after he died, his son went, "Yeah, me too, man.
Yep,
I'm in. I'm done. I'm in." Also, I think he has a contract with whatever
the
dumb
reality
network
show
picks this up that he has to do it.
I've often said that the last thing you're going to see on a reality show is reality. So will we see this moment? If there's a reality show going, they're not always shooting, but I'm guessing there's a camera on him every time he picks up a snake. If you got a reality show like that, you've got a camera on him.
Probably some overeager producer on the show was just like, "What if we get him to bite you? What do you think? Maybe talk about ratings. The Duck Dynasty people are done, man. Yeah. How about Snake Dynasty? You want to get in on that? Maybe get you some Zaxby's commercials.
Show business. You got to be willing to go that extra level,
absolutely,
that extra step.
I can't wait for him to be. This is all a hoax, by the way. Then he's going to be resurrected.
Oh,
he is risen.
That's season 2.
Jamie Coots.
Well,
I guess it's sad. We're sitting here laughing that the guy died, but I mean, it's not like he.
You think his son was waiting for this to happen?
Absolutely.
I think his son set him up. He wanted that. He wanted that
he's
pulpit.
the heir.
He sure didn't sound sad.
No, it's his time.
Yeah, he's like, well, now's my time to be
At
pastor.
2, Coots.
No.
At 2. I don't think it's dangerous. It's the Word of God. And we've always said it's a good way to live by, and it's a good way to die.
Hey, young Coots, you don't think it's dangerous? Your dad just died.
I think
it ain't dangerous, man. No, nothing can go wrong.
Let's be charitable to Cody Coots. This is probably from the reality show before his dad died.
You're probably
being
right,
asked the question about
maybe.
it. So then he says, "It's a good way to live, good way to die."
I hope it is a hoax. I hope his dad returns. He rises from a snake.
That would be a very good storyline
with dry ice.
That sounds like some Vince
Highway
McMahon.
to Hell.
That
playing.
sounds like some WWF style. I won't say E. It's WWF.
I get that Eye of the Tiger, maybe. Smoke as you bam, 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 bam.
Believe in God.
And there he comes, Jamie Coots, rises.
A bunch of people holding
that's our new
signs
leader.
up.
What if we found out that
And
the
then
whole
all of a
Jesus
sudden-
thing was real, and it turns out that this guy was the resurrection?
He has the worst
That'd be
name.
incredible.
The worst name to follow.
I just see
Here he
him.
comes.
I see him rising.
From Highway to Hell, though? I mean,
Yeah.
And then Jerry Lawler. Oh my goodness!
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is highly unorthodox.
I've seen Undertaker rise out of the coffin. I've seen Steve Austin lay the smackdown, but I've never seen the resurrection.
This is something that wrestling fans had never thought that they'd ever see. Well, all right, Jamie Coots, God bless you.
Amen.
He did die.
Hallelujah.
God did bless him. I don't think we need to tell him
In the
that.
famous words of the chief of police.
I don't personally believe the way he does. I'm also a church-going man, but you just kind of have to have a little bit of respect for somebody that has that much faith that actually backs up what he says.
If someone's robbing my house,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the guy I want being.
Can I do the news this way?
Well, China.
Yeah, let's do a wrap-up news story. Man, y'all heard Justin Bieber's moving to Atlanta. I think it's good for the city. That
You can do the signature close with it.
That's our take on the news. If y'all want any more stories like this, or like any other kind of stories, you can find us on Facebook and on our website, EricVaughnRadio.com.
I don't think you should say you can find us on the internets. I don't really know much about it. You can tweet it. You can tweet it.
My granddaughter can help you find it online.
My granddaughter, who's also my niece.
Autumn
Yes.
Fisher. I almost called you Autumn Prince.
That's all right.
Autumn Fisher. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram.
All your social platforms. You just
All
put
of it.
in.
All of it. Auto Pritz. P-R-I-T-T-S.
And since you're good at it, where can people find this show? How do they do that?
EricVaughnRadio.com. And lots of billion other places will tell you about
But if you
it.
go to EricVaughnRadio.com,
Everything's there.
everything's there. And
Yep,
it's probably
everything's at the
easiest-
top of the page. You can click on it. You can explore.
The easiest hub.
Yes.
Michael Albanese, where will you be?
You can check me out at Big Man Mike on all my stuff, inmyownhead.com. And tomorrow night I will be at Smith's Old Bar, just watching and witnessing the great Rory Scovel, stand-up comic, is practicing for his special.
Oh.
And it's only $5 to get in to watch it, and it's amazing. You should come out and see that. Hang out with me. Buy me a beer.
Greg Russ, he's leaning low.
I don't exist anywhere. It's a visual gag if you're watching the stream.
Do you get it?
Greg Russ.
You
does
can't
not-
find me.
You can only
Am
find.
I even here now?
Probably not.
Are any of us here now?
And if you want to see me dying through the next couple of weeks, I'll be at. I'm going back to the gym starting today. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
My MMA gym X3 in Midtown.
That's where we can check out your penis size, because on
Absolutely.
that site, a
That's
lot
where
of
the celebrity
at the gym every day.
Kickbox nude. X3
See them in the
Midtown.
locker room.
Absolutely.
Now, fluff yourself first, because there's people looking now. So
I'm always fluffing.
It's always about the PR.
Currently fluffing.
I want to mention that I got to put my glasses off here. Village Theater in Atlanta. So maybe I'm right. Maybe this is the same place you did.
The Armando Show.
Yeah,
I've
the
done
Armando
that. It's
Show.
so awesome.
Explain to people what that is real fast.
Armando Show. First of all, Village Theater has incredible improv. I'm not necessarily a massive fan of improv.
Right.
But when it's good, it's good.
And they're good.
When I tell you the Armando crew over at the Village Theater, it's right next to the King Memorial Station in Atlanta.
Okay.
Off the MARTA station.
So I tell them some stories from my life.
Yes.
And then they act it out.
Yeah, basically you just tell true stories, and then they create improv scenarios around those stories, and you can interrupt them at any time, stop it. If something they do reminds you of another story, just jump on and do it, and then they play these great improv games at the end.
It's going to be great, because I've got great stories.
You know,
so,
I did it a couple weeks ago, and they treat you great, and they pack it out. And,
well, I will be the guy.
Come out and do it
this
It's
Friday.
Fantastic.
Are you going to come with me?
I'm coming. I'm there.
Autumn, you going to be there?
Sure.
Greg, he doesn't exist anywhere. Maybe
They
he'll
have,
come as well.
And the theater's great, so come. Don't pregame. Drink at the theater, because that helps support them. That's how they make a
Village
living.
Theater in Atlanta this Friday. I am. Does that make me Armando when I'm the guy telling
You
the
are
story?
the Armando.
I am.
Yeah.
What does Armando mean?
I think that's just the name they give it.
Okay, so I am the Armando. I'll be telling stories from my life. The improv guys will be acting out those stories. I think it's going to be awesome. So that's this Friday, Village Theater, Atlanta, Georgia. Join us if you can. Thank you for being here today. And
VillageComedy.com to get tickets. You should get tickets.
VillageComedy.com to get tickets. And Eric becomes the Armando. Thanks for being with us today. That's the morning show with EVH. We'll see you tomorrow.